Well guys, welcome back for another edition, a special edition, if you will, of Truth or Trend. We are going to be deep diving into a trending skincare ingredient, NAD. Every anti-aging longevity guru out there, crow's feet phobe, cannot silence themselves, cannot suppress their giddiness in spewing and espousing the benefits of NAD. NAD skincare, creams that you put on the face. Is this a truth or just a trend, another thing to catch our attention, waste our dollars and our time? We're going to get into it in today's video. First of all, what the heck is NAD? Sounds like some undercover organization that puts spyware on something or another. NAD plus stands for Nicotinamide Adenine Dinucleotide. It's a molecule found in every single cell in the body, and it is vital for a variety of really super duper important cellular processes like metabolism, cellular energy, repairing damaged DNA, and for maintaining healthy cell function. Here's the thing though, with age, like many things, NAD plus levels, they decline. This decline in NAD plus is actually a topic of a lot of research interest, as it's thought to play an important role in our body's aging processes and our overall longevity. With regards to the skin, it's also thought to be super important for how our skin ages. NAD plus likely plays an important role in aging of the skin as it relates to, you guessed it, that big fireball up in the sky. Those UV rays that damage our skin, NAD plus is an important player in repairing and healing and defending against that. I can see the appeal of putting NAD plus on the skin. It likely has anti-inflammatory properties as well, which is all well and good. One would assume, but you know what they say about assumptions, right? When you assume, you make a out of you and me. Yeah. Given that NAD plus levels decline in our skin with age, the theory here, and I get it, is that putting it on the skin, we could replenish some of that NAD plus that is vital for skin cell metabolism, energy, repairing damaged DNA, all of those key cellular processes, and ultimately that might translate into, you guessed it, better collagen production, fewer wrinkles. Woohoo, woohoo. Everybody wants to look 17 again. So you'll see NAD plus or related compounds like NMN or NR in topical skincare products with a hefty price point in many cases. These creams, they have, no surprise, bold claims to make, alleging an anti-wrinkle effect, that it's going to improve the appearance of aging skin, and that it's going to make your skin tighter. If that sounds too good to be true, well, it probably is, right? What exactly does the science say? Internally, NAD plus is, again, a topic of interest in longevity science, with links suggesting that internally it's very important for cellular longevity, cellular function, even brain function, perhaps playing a role in slowing down cognitive decline, which, as a side note, I don't know about you guys, I could care less. I could care less about crow's feet. I want the wrinkles in my brain wrinkling, okay? I want that cognition. I want to be snappy my entire life. I don't want to slow down mentally. That's my biggest fear, slowing down mentally from baseline, I should say. I'm not the most rapid fire as is. I don't need to go downhill from where I'm at. But that's internally. And even there, the research is evolving. Doesn't stop supplement companies from selling you a variety of supplements despite the limitations in systemic absorption and the unknowns with regards of too much of a good thing, which is definitely something to keep in the back of your wrinkly gyri. But then let's move to topicals, putting it on the skin. Pretty much radio silence in the research fields. Not a lot to uncover there. What we do have suggests perhaps, mostly from research done in vitro, perhaps topical NAD plus, it may not completely rewind the clock, it may not boost collagen production, but perhaps it may be beneficial for improving skin hydration and improving barrier function, both of which are factors in our skin health metrics, if you will, that decline with age and can contribute to the appearance of little dehydration wrinkles, make our skin more vulnerable to irritation and to overall damage. So not a bad outcome if it works, not a bad outcome if it can work. Improved hydration, improved barrier function, those things set off a cascade that ultimately can make a huge huge difference in your skin health overall, above and beyond like repairing damaged DNA, which would be ideal, but there's only so much putting skincare products on the skin can actually do, can actually achieve. However, there is a dearth of clinical research putting NAD+ on the skin in human volunteers and in human subjects, clinical trials, true clinical data, not just cells in a dish, in vitro kind of stuff. We want actual clinical studies showing, does this even work? Because, spoiler alert, NAD+, like, I am very skeptical. You have this charged molecule, you have to get it into the skin, which is no simple feat. And it's not the most stable ingredient. It's not stable. Penetration into the skin is challenging. I have not really seen any good pharmacokinetics type studies looking at topical application of NAD+ to human skin to say, does it even get in and affect any kind of meaningful change in our skin's NAD level or in collagen or in barrier components? None of that. So I remain, surprise, surprise, very, very skeptical, especially given the lack of clinical studies on human volunteers with NAD+ to show that it actually makes a difference. It really is very preliminary research that we're talking about. Nothing that we can hang our hat on is going to make a difference. So my final verdict on topical NAD+ in skincare, whether it be creams, serums, lotions, toners, however they want to market it to you, something you're going to put on the skin. In many cases, the products are expensive, although if there is enough consumer demand, you will find new products come out that are less expensive. The formulation hurdles of stability and penetration, I say it is a pass. Also, the lack of clinical data, it's a pass. Best case scenario, it helps with moisturizing the skin, improving water content, and improving barrier function, which is not a bad outcome. Not a bad outcome. Wish there were clinical studies to really back that outcome up substantially. There are not, but that's kind of the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, as with any skincare ingredient you put on the skin, you can develop allergy to it or irritation to it, and it may not end up working out for you. Don't despair. Don't despair. There is light at the end of the anti-aging tunnel. There is light. First of all, what do I actually recommend that you do moving forward if this avenue is of interest to you? I recommend ignoring NAD+ until more research is established in topicals. We're not going to get into the dietary supplements. You guys who watch already know my thoughts on that. If you missed my review on these types of dietary supplements, check that out because I have a lot to say. Why are we ignoring what we already know works? Why are we pursuing something with very little to no research that is in products that come at a $90-ish price point when we have something that already works? We already have it and people are just bored of it, is basically what's happening. I can't make a video without mentioning it, and that is niacinamide, topical niacinamide. It is a precursor to NAD+. It's actually been shown to replenish and improve levels of NAD in the skin when applied topically. Not to mention, it has been shown in clinical studies on human volunteers to offer so many of the benefits that people are grasping at with NAD. Not only does it improve NAD levels, so the downstream effects of that we would assume are better cellular energy, better DNA repair, better cell metabolism, a zest for life coming from those keratinocytes and fibroblasts, but it's been shown to improve skin hydration. It's been shown to improve skin barrier function. And as far as anti-aging outcomes, there is a lot that has been established on people, on actual people, not just cells in a dish, as far as improving wrinkles, improving skin sallowness, which is a side effect of glycation in the skin yellowing. And if you want to learn more about that, you need to watch my video on glycation and skin sallowness. We break it down there. Topical niacinamide is one of the few topical ingredients that has been investigated and shown to be helpful for skin yellowing, glycation. Not to mention niacinamide's established track record in being beneficial for dark spots, hyperpigmentation, sun damage related discoloration. It has a mechanism behind it. Not only has it been shown in cells in a dish and in actual human clinical studies on human volunteers, but there's a robust mechanism there in that it disrupts the transfer of pigment packets from the melanocytes, which make pigment, make melanin. They make that and they transfer it around to the keratinocytes in the epidermis. Niacinamide says, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. Hence, it's helpful for hyperpigmentation. It's an antioxidant. It's anti-inflammatory. anti-inflammatory, which were things that we were like, maybe we can get that from NAD. Why bother when niacinamide has already been shown to do those things? And why bother when niacinamide has already been shown to improve NAD plus levels in the skin? Like, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel here with something for which there is little to no clinical research for and has even greater challenges of getting into the skin? It makes no sense to me, but I get why people fall for it, because new and exciting, research backed, even though there's no research backing it. I get it. Niacinamide has also been shown to be beneficial for people with oily, acne-prone skin with prominent pores. It's generally well tolerated, although a lot of you guys I know do not tolerate it. If you don't tolerate it, I still say skip the NAD+. It's not like it is an evidence-based alternative to topical niacinamide. Niacinamide has also been shown to improve elasticity in the skin, which gives the bounce, the recoil. That's another thing that declines with age. These are established beneficial outcomes with topical niacinamide. We don't have any of that research for NAD+. So again, why are we spinning our wheels on NAD+? I'll tell you why we're spinning our wheels, because people already know the niacinamide story and they're already bored of it, albeit some people don't tolerate it. But for many brands, niacinamide is not selling products anymore. They have to come up with some new scientific-y, yeah, that's the word, scientific-y sounding ingredient to really lure people in. Plus, let's talk about the search factor here. NAD+, already coming from the wellness longevity guru side of things, has already got search engine driven optimization built in. So if you go ahead and put it in a product, now when people who are learning about NAD+ are hearing about it on a podcast, when they go doing their own research, Googling things, guess what's going to come up? Your $92 NAD+ cream. And then all of a sudden people are like, maybe I should be using this on my skin. Why would you do that when you could use niacinamide? Here's the other thing. When it comes to a lot of these benefits that we're hoping to achieve, again, trying to reinvent the wheel when we know already what works. And most people are not consistent with this. And that is moisturizing the skin, protecting the skin from UV with sunscreen, and cleansing the skin at the end of the day to remove dirt, oil, sebum, and debris. Those three things do a lot for your skin. Throw in niacinamide into the mix, which, spoiler alert, a lot of moisturizers, a lot of sunscreens already have niacinamide formulated into them. Okay, so you're likely already getting this ingredient that's working for you. Throw in niacinamide into the mix, and there you've got some solid backing. Throw in a topical retinoid, and you really have a solid backing. Try using niacinamide twice a day, morning and evening. Again, if it's in your sunscreen, that's your morning. If it's in your moisturizer, that's your evening. Done. You don't need to buy anything else. Look for moisturizers and sunscreens with niacinamide, so you can have that in your routine. If you have a niacinamide serum, cool. Use it twice a day, every day, provided you tolerate it for at least 12 weeks before you can really start to say if it's having any kind of meaningful effect. If you see no beneficial outcomes with topical niacinamide, why waste your time on NAD+ with all of its additional hurdles and lack of research? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Anyways, guys, if you want to know what skincare ingredients are actually backed by science and actually work, like clinically established, long-standing history, track record of working to improve the visible signs of skin aging, have a longevity benefit, if you will, for skin health, which is super important above and beyond just the cosmetic changes, watch the video on the end slate going over that exact thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!